Hi, today I'd like to introduce my entry clause web app. You can use it for clausal tree analysis. A fun way to um, study language is to read books which interest you in your target language alongside a translation. Of course, you should choose books which are slightly challenging but not too difficult. However, in more complex texts, the structure of sentences can often be complicated, especially so for academic texts. This is where my latest app called Entry Clause, and for analysis, okay, can help you understand them more easily. Entry Clause helps you visualize the structure of complex sentences. Okay, so this is what I hope to cover today. So first we will talk about what is a clause, and then I'll talk a bit about the program, explaining how to use it, and then we'll have a brief dive into phrases and clauses. So what is a clause? A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb that have a relationship. Well, that's what Grammarly says. Um, Here are some examples. I love eating cookies. Okay, so that has one independent clause, a clause which can stand on its own as a distinct sentence. The second is a compound sentence. I love drinking, but I know it's bad for my teeth. Uh, Here, independent clauses are joined by a conjunction like but in this case, or you can also have and or so or even a semicolon or a colon. The last three sentences are complex sentences, each with a subclause. Uh, dependent clauses are clauses which depend on another clause or subclause of dependent clause. So while we slept, okay, it's a subclause, the plane reached its destination. So while we slept adds extra information. Robin wasn't allowed in the Batmobile any longer. That's the main clause. And the reason, because he wouldn't wear a seatbelt. And in the third one, the guy who shouted all night. Okay, so that's a subclause which tells us about the guy, made it impossible to fall asleep. Okay, so I'll talk a bit more about these types of sentences later. And things can get even more complicated with nested and compound clauses. Take, for example, this sentence from the Sorting Hat scene in Harry Potter. Below, you'll see the translation. Um, One reason for the confusion is that the word order often changes between languages. So we can see there are two main clauses there, two parts. He was so relieved, and he hardly noticed. Okay, so and we have subclauses to have been chosen and not in Slytherin, and we have this, the reason for his relief. He hardly noticed that, and then the subclause, he was getting the loudest cheer yet. Okay, the thing he noticed, that. Okay, let me talk about entry clause. What does entry clause do? It helps you analyze clauses in a tree structure. Um, so in the previous example, we saw it's a bit like a tree starting from the left, and as we go to the right, we have more sub branches, just as a tree branches out. Okay. So we can, with the entry clause, we can import a text and its translations. We split them into clauses and we indent them to show the relationship between clauses and how they map between the original and translation. We do that using colors. And then finally, we export your clause tree. Okay, the first thing we need to do is log in. So we've got two alternatives. One is uh, on the right. If you're my student, you'll have your student ID and a password you've made. Or if you are a guest, you untick the box and put your name and a password I will give you for guest login. Okay, so after we logged in, we'll see some tabs at the top. And here we have the info tab. Okay, so which my students will be familiar with, which just gives you their code name and um, a button to open the portfolio. Okay, so the active link is in what color is that? Dark cyan, I think. And the links you can type are in black, and the grayed out links are not are disabled temporarily. Okay, so first thing you need to do is you copy your text or your exported data into a tree. So you go to the import tab to do that, and you um, and you just paste it in. Okay. Note that if you've logged in before, should say load your text that you last were working on there. Be careful because I record this text, so don't put any sensitive details in, please. Alternatively, you can put the tree that you export back in, you can copy it back in and load that. So just to go back, this gives you a means of backupping your work, backup in your work by saving in a document, for example, Google Docs or Notepad or whatever. On the Analyze tab, you will see a checkbox. So the checkbox allows you to edit your text in case you've made a mistake or there's some problem, so you don't have to reload it and start again. And you have a list of shortcut keys at the top here, which I will explain. And the clause trees. So you've got each sentence. So it will load your text and try to separate by sentence. Okay, so it's one bullet point per sentence. Sometimes it might make a mistake, and we'll show you how to fix that later. So you can have several paragraphs, and each paragraph will start from one. So you can have like one paragraph of English and then the following paragraph in Korean. The Help tab, okay, so we had help there. If you go to the Help tab, describes the tabs. So we've got three ones we're focusing on besides the info. We've got the import, analyze, export. And I have a description of the shortcut keys below. Okay, so there are more of those. And you can also click the button to toggle between English and Korean. Help. Okay. On the Analyze tab, you should see when you press this after importing, so it should be enabled. And you've got the view options, so you can move the cursor by clicking on the letter using your mouse, or you can just touch your screen if you're on the tablet. You can move left or right using the arrows, left or right arrows, or RL for left, right, and left. If you combine those with Shift or Control, it moves by a word, and N moves to the next sentence, and P moves to the previous sentence. Um, you probably will want to focus on one sentence at a time. So ideally, the translation, if you have the English and the Korean, the sentences should match up. And you can just focus on one sentence, for example, the second sentence of each paragraph. So you can see these match up. So S toggles between showing a one sentence or showing all. Now, if you were just to use that, it would. If you use the cursor, it would go straight to the next sentence. So you want to freeze it. So it just fixes on this one sentence. So if you were to scroll, it would go straight to the corresponding sentence in Korean. Um, okay, so we've got the next previous actions, which go to the paragraph. They ignore this setting. So if you want to go to the next sentence, you can just do N or P for that. So, and also if you're in the frozen mode, freeze mode, it will show this light, I think cyan or color, so which will just be chilly, like ice. And you can use enter to split a sentence into two parts, or you can use backspace to join them together. So I'm Yeah, okay. So at the bottom, we've got enter, which is like one sentence, and I split it at W, which makes two sentences. Or if you go backspace, you can undo that and join them back together. You can use the down arrow or D to demote a sentence to a subclause. Um, so, for example, we can see this clause here, he'd seen earlier, is highlighted, but you've got the cursor with the blue and underline there. And you can, if you press D, it will demote. So you're basically going down the tree. So I mean, away from the root, which is so it's not. I shouldn't say down, demote. If it's a physical tree, you'd be going up, but don't worry about that. Think of like a family tree going downwards. Okay, from your halabji, your grandparents, your boominim, your parents, and your children. So you've got more going downwards that way. Anyway, you default demote or down. Um, and so it indents it to the right, which is the down direction. or if we go up, it goes it promotes it. Okay, so it goes upwards. It goes up the tree. So if a note has if a node, okay, so these clauses I call nodes. So if there are um, subnodes, if it has nodes of it or clauses of it, they'll be promoted together. I mean, this is going from when you're going up. Okay, they'll be promoted. And notice that each clause is assigned a color or label automatically. Okay, so these colors are automatically assigned. You can change those. I'll explain how to do that later. You can embolden use bold, B key to toggle the bold mode of a sentence. And we will need this data. We use this. If we use the minus key or dash, it clears all bold text for a sentence. Um, that's the whole sentence. So that, like for number 4, so all number 4, that sentence would be clear all the bold for that sentence, and star will clear it for the all your text. Um, if you have a contiguous range of nodes in bold, okay, so contiguous means they're all joined together. They can be demoted, so that's the D key, they can demote it together. So a prompt will appear to confirm this. No results in only the node's demotion. So for example, if this is what we have in the beginning and we press D, so we got two clauses which are in bold. While Weasley twins yelled, we got Potter, we got Potter. So if we were to type D, and we've got a choice, we've got to say yes or no. Yes will mean both the while Weasley twin and its subnode, subclause, we got Potter will be demoted together like that. If we say no, then only it will ignore the bold and just demote this one sentence, this one clause. Okay, so we got while the Weasley twins yelled. So as you can see here, it's been demoted. Okay, so you can think of these up and down like some sort of game. Okay, so these are the rules of the game. When all clauses on a node are demoted, a dotted line will appear on the left. So you will see, so for example, we've got Percy the prefect got up. Okay, and shook up. So we've demoted all these together using this bold. And no, wait, no, I haven't, sorry, cancel that. Start again. If we demote this clause, Percy the prefect got up. Okay, so you can see it's been that clause has been demoted and it becomes a subtree. A dotted line appears here. Okay, that means they've all got the same level. So these are Percy the prefect got up and shook his hand vigorously. Okay, so that is a compound sentence, which means so joined by and here. This can be used to indicate coordinate clauses. Okay, coordinate, for example, in compound clause. These two are called coordinate. They are acting at the same time. Okay. So and one's joined by a conjunction. So the conjunction is and or but so. Okay, there are others. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Um, excuse me. A node's color label can be reassigned by typing a key, by keying the digits associated with the color. These are the colors you can choose, and so you can see this one has been. Okay, you can change these colors. Okay, so it will change the color um, of this clause. Okay, and if I think it's some rule. It might change them automatically. I can't remember. I think I've switched it off. Okay. Anyway, so you can use that to change the colors. So you can say he was so relieved. Okay, so useful. You want to use this labeling to highlight the same clause in the translation. He was so relieved. Nomuna andohan nomoji. Okay. And then we've got green, 선택돼요. Have been chosen. Okay. So, and put into Slytherin. Slytherin에 들어가지 않고. Okay, so you can see the order's changed in here. So that could be useful to help understanding. So you use these, just type the number key. And then okay, that's all you need to know for an analysis. That's the complicated bit. So basically you got up and down. I can move around up and down and so there's demote and promote using your arrow keys or whatever, and or D and U, and use the bold to do some at the same time, and you can label. So when you've done that, when you've analyzed, you can export. So you go to the export tab, which will be enabled uh, once you've gone to the analyze tab. So every time you move there, it will export and save to the server. So the export tab encodes the clause tree in a format which can be copied into a text editor, e.g. Google Docs. If copied back into the input box on the import tab, the clause tree will be regenerated. So got that there. When copying the export tree, be careful to select everything from the first one through to the last box here. Okay, you can see some numbers are here, which they describe the tree. And so it's important to have all of those. Okay, so I'll just mention this box up here, which I might share with students, so that allows you to hide those keys. You can do that. So I'm mentioning that now. Right, let's give it a go. Let's try it out. So there's a link here in the slides. I've also got my students can use the link on the class page. So here I've got this version number. I've updated to version 3 now, and that will open the code. My students will be familiar. It's the same link, and I've got a link to these slides here, and I will put an update this video here, so you can watch it. Okay, let's try it out. Wow, excitement. Oops, sorry, excuse me. Oh, sorry, this is later. Sorry, that's I'm jumping ahead of myself. Okay, there we are. Now, what do I want? Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is when you open the link, you should see this. You can close this box at the top by typing the cross at the top there, and you can see you can go, are you my student or not my students? Those are there. So switch it off for guest and switch it on for my student. You put your number in there, password, and you log on, and you get this message. So just be patient. Okay, please don't type the log and just wait. Okay, it takes a few seconds, a bit slow because it's fast today. Okay, so we've got the import tab and you've got sort of portfolio, which has changed slightly, but the button, now a button, and you can go to import. So you can't click on those. You go to okay, we can look at the help menu here. So it has all the instructions here explaining just brief summary of what I've sent. I might put a link to these slides at the bottom here. And you can also translate to Korean. Wow. There's probably some mistake there. I won't check it now. So those are, you can go back to English by typing that, clicking the button. So go to import and it's loading. Okay, so you can got some, this is what was working last time. We got the same text from Harry Potter and now the um, analyze screens works and um, I've got shortcut keys. Okay, tabs is blank at the moment, but these are the keys you can use and as I said before, this everything is down here. Okay, I'll show you quickly. Let's just type to S to just show once the S button I touched there. And you can, if I wanted to, I can click that and type something in there. For example, and that will okay, it's appeared the X has appeared there. I want to take that out. I don't want to leave that there. Um, disable that. And you can, what else can we do? Oh yeah, just show you. I'll show you in the video in a minute. Okay, so how you can edit this. Okay, you've done that, and then you just go to export. Okay, so it says last time it was backed up just now. Okay, and this is the export. Right, so it works, and then you can just close it when you finish that. So after you've copied it, you just copy the whole thing like that. Or if I want to, okay, if for me, you can actually get rid of the details, hides all those codes. But my students can't do that at the moment. Right, okay. Let's go back to okay, we tried it out. Okay, here's a video. Shall I play it? Music. Okay. So I'm just going through here. And you can see the buttons that are being pressed at the bottom here. I've got a highlighter. See, I've split into two. And then what did I just do there? I think I probably demote. And it's going very fast, isn't it? And I highlighted those two. And it says, yes, I want to demote those two. So those two gone in there. Okay, this is actually an older video. It's got the exported text, older version of the app. So it's got the text on at the bottom. So what am I doing here? Okay, I've demoted that one sentence there. I can split it here. Okay. Okay, so enter. So highlighted both of those two. Okay, I'm demoted those two so you can see these everything it's the same line. Okay, compound, like a dotted line for compound sentence there. What am I doing now? I'm changing the color, I think, for numbers. Okay, I've highlighted this one. I'll split it there. Okay, got another. Okay, subclause of this. Okay, and I've done the same with the English there. And now I'm going to match the colors up. Okay, so a five. I've changed the color so it matches the English. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's it. Okay, anyway, show you how to example. So you can what I've done there is split, demote, label, export. Okay, oh, I haven't exported here. Right. I think I did. I had a key to export, so it's changed slightly. So anyway, let's have a brief grammar review. Uh, health warning. Don't try to remember this. Okay, so if you've got lots to learn, so basically learn the basic things and you learn more detail as you go on. Okay, so just anyway, just enjoy. Sentences are built up of clauses. Clauses are built up of phrases. A phrase can act as a verb, like will be coming. Noun, a good fight. An adjective, like very late. An adverb, almost certainly. Okay, so verb, 동사, noun, 명사, adjective, 형용사, adverb, 부사. Phrases can start with a preposition which indicates place, like on the train, or time, like after lunch, or other things. Coordinate clauses, okay, can be joined using and, or, but, and so. For example, okay, so don't worry, I will probably translate this I promise. I will translate these slides into Korean, so in case you have trouble. Okay, his paintings weren't selling and he had money problems. Okay, two clauses. Okay. We uh we can take a taxi or wait for a bus. He jumped off the 86th floor, but he survived. Wow. He had an exam next week, so he went to the library. Sounds familiar with students. Alternatives for but and so, for but we can use yet, though, although, even though. Also we can use despite, in spite of, um, a noun, or gerund, that's a verb in, like standing train or sitting students. Standing train, sorry. Ignore that. Whereas, while for things which are different but not unexpected. Uh, so we can use and so, and as a result. and in consequence. Okay, so I'm not teaching this though. This is just a review book. So you understand how to use this program. A subclause can be part of another clause in the same way as a phrase is, e.g., an adverb. Um, a gust of wind caught him on the way down. I mean, meaning as he fell. Okay, on the way down is a phrase. As he fell is a clause, subclause. Um, I made mistakes because I was tired. Okay, that is okay. I'd sat down to read a paper. Okay, so these are um the function of the subclause is busa, like because I was tired. So it's explaining about making mistakes, or the re gives the reason for sitting down. As you know, things are difficult just now. Okay, so it's modifying the verb. Um, things are difficult. Okay, so as you know. Um, okay, so these are adverbs which express time, like in the first one, reason, like in the second one, purpose, why, you, okay, the reason, and comment, as you know, okay. An object, a subclause can also function as an object. He admitted his mistake, or he admitted that he changed his mind. Okay, so the thing he admitted. Okay, so those are two uses of subclause, adverb and object. A subclause can be non-finite. For example, non-finite means it can't be used as a main sentence. So it can be an infinitive, for example, to tell you the truth, I was terrified. Okay, to tell you the truth is infinitive. As a gerund, okay, he regrets now having jumped. Okay, having jumped is was it something hum in Korean? A participle. The people watching the show were astonished. Okay, so it's a bit confusing. So it's gerunds and participles. Present participles look at the verb ing, but they have different functions. Okay. Okay. A subclause can also be conditional. For example, if it rains tomorrow, I won't go, or a relative clause. A relative clause modifies a noun. They can identify. Okay, so what's the name of the player? What's the name of the player who was injured? Okay, so which player? The player who was injured. They can classify. Um, a player who is injured has to leave the field. Okay, so they've got slightly different functions. Identify, 특별한 선수, a special one particular where classify is people, players who are injured. Um, Notice relative clauses that identify or classify don't have commas and the pronoun can be left out when it's not the subject. Okay, so yeah, okay. Add relative clause can also modify. It can add information. Okay, so who was injured left the field. So it gives some extra information. Okay. So we got three different. Who is injured is being used in three different ways. It's being used to identify, classify, and add. It can also connect. Tell, for example, tell what happens next. The ball went to Jones, who easily scored. Okay, so it tells you what happens next. Relative clauses can use a participle. Okay, the bus coming now is ours. Okay, so it's coming now. Um, an infinitive. United were the first team to score. Um, they can use a relative adverb. Okay, so that's the stop where we get our bus. Okay, so the relative adverb. Okay, so yeah, so it's talking about where we get our bus. Um, so it's describing the stop. Okay, it is the stop, and it can use the relative pronoun what. Okay, United's fans got what they wanted. The thing they wanted. Okay, so we've got using the what there, the pronoun. Um, whoever, whatever, whichever. So we've got other relative pronouns. Whoever used the pans. Okay, so, that person should watch them. So it's got some alternatives there. Direct speech is not considered a type of subclause. Instead, it acts as a quoted independent phrase or sentence embedded in a larger structure. So anyway, that's just technical stuff. Okay, clauses can be built into complex sentences. Okay, so that is a lot of theory, a lot of grammar, which you probably studied over years. So I'm just giving a review. So please don't try and remember that. Okay, it's a lot. Okay, just relax, and it's just so you can, when you're reading, you can just engage more with the text and try to understand what is actually happening, why they're broken up. So here are these sentences are taken from two real conversations. So eventually we got off. We got the but we had to go to Basel. Okay, let's go two compound sentences. So we've got the dots here, which have been demoted together. But instead of landing, okay, so that um, okay, I want to try and explain what it is. Anyway, so that's the subclause of this. We had to go to Basel, and this is the what happened, which meant we had went a longer and added train journey. Okay. And we've got a more complicated one. Well, we hung about. Okay, the main clause. We hung about, and after an hour and a half, nobody came. So we took a taxi and went to Basel. Sorry. Um, we decided to stay, and we decided to stay there night. So we've got one, two, three, four, five compound some coordinates clauses. Okay, there, and this got subclauses. Well, we hung about, waiting for a representative. Okay, and this is talking about the representative to come and tell us. Okay, to come and tell us what to do. And the reason, because we decided to say that because we missed the train. Okay, the reason is, okay, so that is an adverb. It's describing why we stayed the night. So don't worry. I mean, this is like a game. Okay, my program is, don't take it too seriously, but try and, to help you play with it and make sense of English. Try and help you engage with it. All right. So as I said earlier, try not to remember all that grammar. It's so much. So just enjoy reading and refer to this to make sense of the grammar and how it relates to the grammar in your native language. Learning should be a joy. You should happy enjoy learning. Should always enjoy. If it's just difficult, you're not going to learn anything. So just try and make it interesting. Find things which interest you. Okay, so and finally, I've got my references. So the grammar I took from mainly from this book, English Grammar by John Eastwood. So other grammar books might put things slightly differently. I've got a link to the program and okay. Oh, this is my an earlier version of this video. Right. So I'll put this video here. Okay. So let's come out of this, stop share. Right, I think, yeah, that's everything. Right, so enjoy. Thank you very much.